Into the Badlands, Episode 3, White Stork Spreads Wings. Definitely an interesting episode. This was a really cool... Obviously, the action was great, so I think eventually... I'm not even going to bother talking about the action because it's obviously just amazing. But once again, we had a really cool fight scene in this episode. I think one of the greatest things about this is the fact that it was two barons going up against each other. We have the Widow versus Quinn, which was really awesome because it's only the third episode and they're already doing that. They're already talking about full-on war by the next episode, and it seems like they get to that point within the next episode. So they aren't wasting any time with this show, and which I really love, especially considering it's an action show. Them not wasting time on the great story elements just means we're going to get great story and then even crazier epic action scenes. So just best of both worlds for this, and I really love that. But great opening scene. It was actually pretty fun to see the Widow going up against Quinn, because we saw that he was just much better than her by the end because he does defeat her. But of course, kind of Deus Ex style, his basically aneurysm, he's pretty much just going to have an aneurysm and die, but he might not now that we've seen the end of this episode. But, you know, he was right there, and that's actually how he lost, and I thought that was interesting. Or I can't say he lost because, of course, she just escaped, but that was pretty interesting. He had her, and it just didn't work. Like, he had his headache, you know, and it just took him down. It was the worst one we've seen so far, and it really took him down. We had the x-ray towards the end of the episode, or it was probably like in the middle, really. And there was just a big old black spot just right in his head. And I was like, that is not good. Like, that will completely destroy him. And I'm assuming that there's just nothing that can happen. Because the doctor that he killed, of course, Vel's parents, the guy was like, you basically have until this amount of time. And there was pretty much like nothing he said as far as, well, we can try this or we can do that. It was basically just, you might see the winter, meh. And that was pretty much how that conversation went. And then, of course, Quinn killed them both. But I don't know what to think. I don't see how Vel would be able to do something her parents couldn't possibly do. So I don't even know what to expect from that. The ending scene itself was very tense, too, because with MK being there, and because when he first opened the door, I was like, they're screwed. And then they show it from his angle. It's like, oh, he can't see MK from behind the wall. And I was like, I don't know if he'll get busted or how this is going to work or what. And then it just ends with, you saved my son, and now I want you to save me. So they might pick things up in the next episode from right here, and we'll get to see MK learn all this information. Like, oh, the Baron's weak. I can tell Sonny this. And that might somewhat influence Sonny a little bit, because we have the part where he's talking with a former flame of his, Zephyr, who is the regent of another Baron that we get introduced to in this episode. Or at least he's mentioned, and it's Jacoby. So it could influence the decision that he has, where it's like, he's like, you want me to clip my own Baron. So that was pretty interesting. It's like that, it's one of those little things that will obviously have a really big effect depending on who figures this out. And if Sonny really is trying to get to the Widow so that he can actually help himself and MK, that could just be another, bullet in the chamber against Quinn, where it's like, hey, he's actually pretty weak. Like, he's gonna die flat out. Let's, just spread this around, and boom, that's it. Although if that does happen, of course, Vel would be the one who gets targeted, because it's like, well, who else would know outside of the dead people, who were, of course, her parents. So that probably, that probably won't be how it plays out, because Sonny will be smart enough to realize that, where it's like, you can't say this because only this person knows. So it probably won't play out that way, but some crazy stuff's obviously going to come out of that, and it's going to affect what happens with MK, which might be what happens between, causes that rift between him and Sonny in the next episode, because there's a scene where he's punching Sonny, and then Sonny's like, I trusted you and stuff, so maybe he does decide to tell someone anyway, because he just wants to get away from the Baron and, have him wiped out, and he assumes, well, he'll get wiped out before he can kill someone innocent. And maybe that's kind of where MK's mind goes. But we'll see how it plays out. I'm looking forward to it for sure. Something else that was interesting, I didn't expect the Baron to lie about what happened to her parents. He's the Baron. I honestly just assumed he's just like, I can do whatever and kill whoever the heck I want. I seriously thought that that's how that was going to take place. Like, yep, I killed her parents. Maybe he would say the Sonny did it, but like, yeah, I ordered her parents to be killed. I didn't expect it to be this random thing like, oh, someone killed her parents. That's really messed up. But when Lydia was like, oh, we could ask the doctor, but the doctor's dead. And then she's like, but you wouldn't happen to know anything about that. As soon as she said that, I was like, holy crap, they're keeping this a secret. But it's kind of crazy that he's doing that, because it's like, he's the Baron. I just assumed he could do whatever, and he would never hide it, but he totally did. And then at the same time, it's like, well, I guess it makes sense why he would, because if he didn't, people would ask like why he did it, and he couldn't just say like, I just wanted to kill him. But he could have come up with something, I'm sure, like, oh, they did this or did that, so I had to have him killed. But I was surprised that that was something he was keeping hidden, not too well, because of course Lydia's like, obviously you killed them or had them killed or something for some reason. And of course Vale knows, obviously, because of Sonny. And we also find out that the Baron knows about Vale and Sonny as well. So he doesn't know about the kid, but he knows that they've been together for quite some time. And as Zephyr mentions, like, that's not exactly great. Like, and even Vale mentions, like, there's even more reason for us to get out, because now that he knows, it's just, quicker approaching a very bad moment. So, excuse me. They have a lot to really worry about because of this, and I don't really know what to expect, but it should be pretty amazing. I know it's going to be something entertaining, because the show itself is just, it's pretty insane. But I don't know what to think about this weird relationship that's forming, because we have the Baron he's the Baron. He's like the bad guy of the show. And then we have it where he's in a very vulnerable position, which is obviously why he killed Vale's parents. And now he's going to her, and it's just like aside from the question of what could she possibly do that her dad couldn't, it's just like, what is he gonna learn from constantly being around her? Like, if she vomits in the morning, would he figure something out? If she randomly started to get bigger because she was pregnant, would he figure that out? It wouldn't happen in like a day, obviously. So I don't think the whole showing signs of being pregnant thing is going to be something we have to worry about as far as the storyline goes. But I just don't know. Like, I'm really curious if it's even going to last this first season, where it's kept hidden that she's actually pregnant. Like, I'm just not too sure about it. But I'm looking forward to it, because it's a very menacing sort of closeness of the Baron and Vale, and obviously we have Sonny and MK trying to help, all of them, really get out of the Badlands. So I don't know what's going to come of that, but it kind of scares me a little bit. It scares me just a little bit, because he's obviously a bit insane. He's a bit of a crazy guy, and I think he's become even worse because of, the fact that he's dying. So I don't know what to really expect from it, but it is exciting to see, to have this weird sort of tension where it's like he's there simply because of help. He doesn't know about all the other stuff going on behind him, but because he's so closely tied now to Vale and just her trying to help him, it just makes it harder and harder to keep that secret, because any little thing can happen. And if MK does decide to leave that book there, that could be something else, which we found out Vale doesn't know how to read that. It was something that it was a language she was unfamiliar with, which I thought was a pretty interesting little thing for them to kind of throw out there. And maybe, just throwing this out there as speculation, maybe Lydia is going to end up being the one who knows that language because she's older. Maybe she remembers, learning that as a kid or something like that. But another really cool thing in this episode was definitely, I can't remember, and I want to say her name was Jade, but the Baron's younger wife, her relationship between the Baron and Ryder is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. We also find out that she was friends with Vel in the past when they were younger, but she's walking an insanely tight rope right now. And they have the really creepy scene, like when she's holding Ryder's hand and Quinn like pushes the door open and she takes her hand off. They just hold it and it's like you don't see his arms moving. It's like he had just enough force to push it without us seeing his arm moving. So it opened, the whole door just opens up and he's just standing completely still. I was like, that's very menacing. That was a really great creepy moment, and it just helped, add the tension. It was just another great scene with Quinn and his tension, and it was just like, man, it wasn't close. I knew he didn't see anything, but it's just those little clues. Sorry, I keep coughing, and there's a lot of stupid weather making me sick. But just a lot of the little clues where it's like she seems to care about Ryder a lot, and she's my young wife, so it's like things are gonna happen. She might die. I personally, I think she might just end up dying at some point this season. Baron's gonna be super pissed, like, oh, you've been sleeping with me and sleeping with my son. I'm just gonna chop you in half or something crazy. Like I feel like that's what's gonna happen to her, unfortunately, and that will cause the huge tear between Ryder and Quinn, which of course, Lydia's already not exactly on Quinn's side too much to begin with. So it'll be Quinn versus Lydia and Ryder, and we'll see what happens with Sunny once that actually comes to a head. But that was pretty interesting that they kind of played that up a lot in this episode compared to the last two. But I like that. It shows that they're already advancing that plot, which is very obvious. Like things are happening, between her and Ryder, and it's really weird. And in the promo, he's like, a man takes what he deserves or needs or something like that. I can't remember, but basically he's gonna try to step up and be good enough to be Baron, because he was actually told by Lydia in this episode, and that really upset him because she was always the one kind of on his side, and once he heard that from his mom, it's like, crap, that it actually hit him where it hurt. So he's gonna take his own turn. He's on his own, as Lydia put it, so he's gonna probably do something a bit stupid and really dangerous. So I don't know if that'll be good or bad for some. It'll probably be bad for somebody. It might not be him, but that's gonna be bad for somebody. I don't know if it'll be a good character or a bad character or what, but he's gonna make some poor decision and it'll get somebody in some form of pain or simply trouble, which most likely will result in pain in itself. Another, once again, going to the action, really great scene when when Sunny had to go and find the woman who actually tricked Ryder. That was pretty cool, and he's running on the outside of these super thin tin, I don't even know what to call them. It wasn't like a roof or anything, or even, I guess an awning, I guess is the right term. I don't really know, but it was so flimsy, but it was really cool wire food, and he's jumping off, and he does a super leap across, the woman's running and spinning off of the railings and everything, and he just took a giant leap across. I was like, well, that was pretty cool. That was just really sweet. And he jumps from one level to the next and stuff. It was really fun. And they have a really awesome fight scene. He actually got wounded in this episode. That was something I didn't expect. Sunny got cut, across the chest, so he actually got wounded. They had a really good, close fight where it was just blocking and I don't know if she was moving the blade between her hands or what. Honestly, it seemed like she was dropping it at certain points, but I couldn't really tell it. Maybe she was just moving her hand in circles. I was like, this is really cool because they weren't moving too much, but it was just constantly blocking each other and trying to counter. And then when they got outside, it was the same sort of thing. And Sunny's trying to get the information, and she realized that she was outmatched, and she takes herself down until Tilda's there to see it. And MK kind of has to tell her to take off after she socked him straight in the face. So it's like, look, you got to get the heck out of here. I can't, he couldn't explain everything that was happening. So she takes off, and of course, the widow is like, all right, that special book was missing. I don't know if she expects Tilda or if she thinks maybe MK actually was the person, and that'll kind of lead her back to thinking Tilda kind of betrayed her a little bit. But I don't know. MK took that book, and she knows that it's missing, so it's like it was either the boy or someone knows the boy, and he's back at the camp or whatever. But I don't know what that means for Tilda's character. If she's in trouble, or if the widow's gonna take her down, or what. But I thought that was an interesting little moment. She's just in contemplation, and it's just a little lamp, dark room all the way around, and she's just thinking. And that's it. I'm like, I don't know if this is dangerous or sadness or a combination of both. But I like that scene. And we also hear her actual name again, and it's Minerva. I remembered it this time. And I thought that was pretty cool that Quinn said that. It was like he knew her name. Because the whole big deal when they first kind of talk about her is that she killed her husband, or at least divorced him and he died, or something like that. So I was like, alright, people, call her Minerva kind of as a taunt, really, instead of calling her the widow, as the Baroness. So I thought that was actually kind of cool that Quinn called her that when he first, ran into her. It was like Minerva, and, that's how we get our cool fight scene between the two. But great episode. Really looking forward to this next one. I can't wait to see. It looks like they're in, it was almost like a New Orleans style graveyard, like cemetery deal, where it's basically like coliseums all over the freaking place. Like they're like actually taller than people. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know why I always like the sort of set in TV shows. I always think it's interesting. But I'm looking forward to this big battle. We're going to get to meet a new Baron, so we're going to meet Jacoby in the next episode, which should be pretty cool. We have Ryder doing something. Who knows how that's going to play out. They've already kind of made him the character that isn't going to make it as far as like achieving his dreams and stuff. I don't think he'll die, but he'll be that character that just like unfortunately constantly fails. And I think that's how they're going to like keep his storyline going, where he's going to keep trying to get better and better, but he'll get like 1% better, and it's like 99% complete failure, whatever he decides to come up with. So we'll see how that plays out. MK kind of turning on Sunny. Who knows why that would happen, but I don't know. And we might get to see more of his training, because we got to see him go up against, I believe the guy's name is Waldo in this episode, and that was pretty cool. Like, the guy's in the chair, and he's blocking with one hand the whole time, and he's flipping them and spinning them, and he just destroyed MK, and he just really messed him up. And we also got a pretty cool lesson as far as why everyone's called colts, and it's because they have to be broken in like wild horses. I was like, that's actually kind of cool. I thought it was going to be totally honest, I thought it was going to have something to do with guns, because they were abolished. So I was like, maybe it's going to be like, oh, how guns were banned, we call them colts because these are our bullets now. I don't know, something stupid like that. That's where I thought it was going, but it made more sense. They're colts like horses. But I like this episode, of course. I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And there's a lot that happened in this episode, with the Baron getting much closer to multiple secrets, like MK's secrets and Sunny's secret. There's just a lot there. So I want to know how long you guys think it'll be before he figures out what's going on behind his back. I think personally it won't be until maybe 3 or 4 episodes until the season finale. I think he'll find out in this season, and I think season 2 we're going to see Sunny maybe not outside of the Badlands, but maybe just on his own, possibly with another Baron or something, I don't know. But I want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.